Wow, it is so incredibly hot. And yes, we are starting this vlog in the car, but I think I may need to turn it on so we can get some AC going because, oh my goodness, insane. I have some plants I need to pick up from my friend Nicoletta that I hinted at in the previous video. But before we do that, I wanted to sit with you here in the car and have a brief chat. I did not realize it was gonna be this hot, so if I melt by the end of the video, well, by the end of the segment, I guess there is not going to be a video. If you regularly follow my channel, and you better do, you know that I talked a lot in the past how I finally got my driver's license, and I read all your comments related to that and how much anxiety a lot of you had about, well, getting your own driver's license, but about driving as well. And as you know, I was the same. And as in many cases, there is also a great deal of shame attached to anxiety, and this was no different. Currently, what I am ashamed about is how much I'm sweating. Let's see if we can start this. We need AC. I'm not sure what the mindset is in other countries, but in Serbia, to be 33 and not to have a driver's license, well, you might as well put on Lady Gaga's meat dress and they'd stare at you less. And on top of that, to be a man and not to have your driver's license at 33. That's a whole nother can of worms, and we're not even going to unpack that in this video and all the prejudice that comes with that. Just gonna move on. What really pushed me were two occasions that happened last year. First of them is when my sister broke her hand, and as she is the designated driver of the family with two elderly and not very mobile parents, that was a big issue. And then on the second occasion, both of us were sick, but she was much more sicker than I was, and she actually lost consciousness in the hallway, and I could not take her to the ambulance, to the emergency room. I had to call 911, and good luck getting them to come to you, to come to your home. It really has to be uber urgent, and they did come, thankfully, but they were a bit reluctant. But it was because of these two instances that it became really clear to me that I have to move past my fear and that I have to find a way to deal with my anxiety. And finally, very reluctantly, I signed up for driver's ed. I do believe I mostly overcame my fear and anxiety when it comes to driving, but it did take me the longest time to do so. And I know this sounds really silly to some of you, but anxiety truly does come in many shapes and forms, and it is not the only thing that I was or that I am anxious about. I guess I'm not anymore, but it is definitely on the list. This is why I'm grateful that BetterHelp is the paid partner of this video, because they may have a solution for you. BetterHelp is an online therapy platform that connects you with a credentialed therapist that may help you with whatever issue you may have. I mean, whatever mental health related issue. They can't do your taxes for you, though. Business idea. Thank you very much. Their mission is to make starting therapy easier, because taking that first step can truly be scary for a lot of people. With over 7,000 reviews and 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can truly trust. It is easy to get started. All you need to do is to fill out a quick questionnaire so you can get matched with a credentialed therapist as soon as possible. And if for whatever reason the therapist that was assigned for you is not the right fit, you can easily switch to a different one for no extra cost to you. Remember, the right therapist will listen, ask questions, and help you see things from a different perspective. You can get a 10% off of your first month of therapy by clicking the link in the description or following the link betterhelp.com/basieplans. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/basieplans. Thank you, BetterHelp, for being the paid partner with me for this video. Thank you all for listening and melting with me. We are falling apart here. And let's just get to my friend now and pick up some plants that I definitely do not need.
places, so where does it come from? A scene that keeps playing on repeat, ignores the rule of thumb. Oh, where does it come from? Oh, where does it come from? All your emotions with your heart on your sleeve, it won't fade until you paint it black. I let it burn, you call the fire brigade, but I feel that it will come back. Oh, where does it come from? 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 I'm calling you, 'cause I need you to.
This dude in front of me is making me really nervous because just a moment ago he was driving in the middle of the road. So I think I'm just gonna attempt to pass him. He's also not driving very slowly and not watching the speed limit in the city, which is making it very hard. Like, can you not? And I know that the drivers behind me are also getting angry because I'm driving very slow behind him. Oh no, I forgot where I'm supposed to go. I think here. Okay, let's just see if there is parking. And there isn't, which is not great. I do not love the no parking situation. Literally, I won't park. All the parkings here are filled out. There might be a parking in front of Nicoletta's flower store. But perhaps not. There is a singular parking here, so let's just attempt to get in here. Okay, that was not most ideal, so let's try to fix that. Because, shit, yeah, struggling with the parking. Okay, it's a little bit better. Trying to get in the middle here. When I tell you I have no idea what I'm doing, I ain't lying. Okay. Okay, I think that's fine. Now let's attempt again. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Jesus Almighty. Yeah, I think this is as closest to the middle as we're gonna get here. As I said, I am obsessed with parking in the middle, and I think I did a good job. I am a little bit too close to the curb or over the curb, but it's fine. I mean, this is a bit risky there, but it's fine. So as some of you guessed, this is the plant that I will be taking because I actually have an Alina which is 20 years old, and I will show you what that looks like, but it's so much smaller than this. And I actually want to repot her from a pot like this to something that is more similar to one of these shallow dishes, but I think these are way too small. And then while we are here, there's some very cute orchids. Like, I just adore this Phalaenopsis here that has just a hint of red, or actually that's pink in the middle. But also this yellow one is looking very pretty. That's going to have to be some later purchase. Oh, and I selected this one. I think that one also looks very pretty. I actually don't have any pink phalaenopsises anymore. So this is another plant I was looking into getting. It is this Caryota urens, the palm, the fishtail palm. And I just think these are gorgeous leaves. They remind me very much of ginkgo. And I have been wanting this plant really for a long time. My plant obsession started with palms. And it's actually cheaper than Nalina, but it's very, very big. If you can see, this has to be like at least a meter high. I can't even show you. This is the pot. There's so many trees in there, palm trees in there. I would really like it, but I know that we're gonna see mites and thrips and mealybugs, and she's probably not going to love being inside. I mean, I'm honestly still thinking about it, but I don't know where I would fit this. Very, very pretty. Very unique. I mean, every leaf is different. Just, it's hard to find anything here that matches, and maybe that's chaotic for some of you, but I think actually it's super unique. I would not mind if I took it out, but I don't want to make a mess. Now, the pots, I actually took them out so I can show you. So I'm looking into something shallow. I'm gonna look in Pepco if they have something like this. I would obviously have to drill a hole, but I do like this pattern, and I would like to elevate the Nolina. So we need a stand for it too. I actually prefer this pattern. I would like something green though for it. I did end up pulling out the palm because I really wanted you to see how big it is, and it's like $30 or something. It is absolutely a killer deal and I love it, but I did not get it yet. All right, we're back in the car. Nicoletta is just leaving in her very squeaky car. The plant is in the back, and yeah, we're ready to go. And then I guess I will see if there are any pots locally that I can potentially use for this plant. So expect more vloggy stuff. Nothing spilled nor tipped over. Of course there is a bus. Why wouldn't there be a bus when I'm recording? So we're ready for a new edition. I may not have prepared lunch for today, but at least I got a plant, and we do really need to focus on the priorities. It is the next day and we are back at home with a couple of plant chores to do. We have some Hoyas that we need to fix, which we will do towards the end of this video. Before that, I wanted to show you some plants that I recently got, and out of these plants, I think 4 of them were gifted, so no, 5. Oh my goodness, I am innocent. I have 7 new plants, out of which 5 were gifted. I cannot be held responsible for this. It's not my fault. Let's start with one of the favorite ones, which is this Adelonema wallacei, often sold as Homalomena, and very cute and very hard. We need to get this plant into self-watering because she had several dry episodes. Now she's been watered, so I guess this is just how she looks. I really love the leaves on this plant because they remind me very much of Aglaonema pictum tricolor, which mine left the premises of the earthly plane. She's no longer with us, essentially. But very beautiful leaves, really almost identical vibe. I don't know, I just love this plant and I'm so glad to have it. This is widely available these days. For about $5 or $6 you can pick up something like this here. We do have a couple of dry leaves which I'm going to take off right now, which, you know, underwatering did this. It wasn't really that I underwatered, I mean I did, but the potting mix was still moist, but she would just go all limp, so she really is not the one to stand any underwatering at all, We took one more leaf off, and I will just trim the edge here so it looks nice. This is going again in a self-watering pot right away. It needs to get a good shower. This was a gift from Nicoletta when we were doing the wedding the other week, and she sort of just gave me this as a gift because she knew I love it, and she knew that she cannot take care of this in her flower shop because way too many plants are there. So she gifted me this, and I'm super grateful. This is not the only one that I have. I actually got another one from my friend Liliana when she brought me Hoya Rangsan. I don't think I showed you this. And I actually do have a couple of more Hoyas that I didn't show you. This one has a tiny root here. I don't know if you can see that among all the moss, but right there, there is a bit of new root. This one is just shoved into this cup with the lid. This one I would like to grow in a terrarium setting. Very cute. Let's take a look at those. Oh my goodness, we actually do have a couple of roots here. Goes very dry very quickly. So I actually do have a tiny self-watering pot somewhere around here. Oh no, this leaf did rot at the base. Ooh, I don't know if that means that she's not gonna grow, but I guess we will take that off right now. Hopefully she does continue growing, but that's not promising, is it? So this is a rescue, I suppose. It's such a shame because the new leaf was supposed to come from here. I do have a bigger one now, so that's good. I'll just put it back. So I'm actually going to now more comfortably put her back into this and not pot it. Because I was gonna pot it in a small self-watering pot, but there is no need now, is there? She can just remain in here. We'll fix that later. As you saw, I got this Nolina, which I actually wanted for a while. I will show you mine. That is one of the oldest plants that I have. Oh my goodness, look at her. We need to go back. Okay, so this is actually related to stuff like yucca plant and Dracaena, Sansevieria, asparagus, etc. So I'm just going to take off the dry leaf tips to kind of do a little bit of maintenance. There's some dry leaves here, which I knew when I got it. I do want to put her in a new pot, which is proving to be a challenge. I can't seem to find the suitable pot for this plant. I want something shallow, ceramic, and preferably green, or maybe blue. But I don't think I'm going to find that pot unless I spend a bunch of money, which honestly, I'm not willing to spend 50 euros on a pot right now. We're not in that point of our life. I will spend 50 euros on a Hoya cutting though, which is a little bit crazy that somehow that's fine, but pot, which is someone's hard work, is like, oh no, that's too much. Let's just clean up the center here. Take all of this dry stuff off. You probably can't see me now, but I just wanted to say, compared to all the Hoya cuttings that I buy, this was like 35, 38 euros. And I just think that's such a good price because we know this plant ain't young. I mean, this isn't just like a couple of years worth of growth. I assume in good conditions, this is probably 5 years worth of growth, if not more. Though embarrassingly mine, that is 20 years old, is far, far, far smaller. I was actually thinking to put them together, but now I'm thinking they're two different species of Nolina. Actually, Beaucarnea is the correct name. So I think mostly they are sold as Beaucarnea recurvata, but I think that's the other one that I have because that one has thinner, more narrow leaves and a little bit red. And this could be Guatemalensis because this one has wider leaves, but I'm not sure if anyone is like a asparagus family enthusiast and you know how to ID this without the flower, which I don't expect we will have anytime soon, do let me know. And I think everyone, or at least a lot of people, do love these plants that make a codex. And this one makes a really nice one. It is going to be a plant next to my piano, right here someplace. I don't know if it's going to be enough light, I hope so. If not, she can wait for spring there, and then I will take her outside, which she would probably prefer. But if she can sort of grow there decently well, I would like to keep her inside as a small statement plant. Well, not small, it's medium-sized. I really wish I had like a nice statement plant. And I do have those big aeroids that I need to bring back in. My philodendron atapapuense, I have a jerry horn in the hallway. I do have like a Florida Beauty that's getting very decently sized with thrips. She's growing with thrips, but I don't know, I don't have like a tree. And I kind of want a tree-like plant, maybe a Dracaena even, but the flower store ones are always so, I don't know how to say this, but the growth is always so expected, you know? I want something that looks a little bit weird, like it lived in that space, which I guess a lot of people do want. Now, let's take a look at the roots of this. These typically don't have a large root system, and I hope that's the case with this one because it's going to help us fit her into a smaller pot. And I think she's going to look very good in a pot that is close to the size of the codex. But also, let's not be violent with the unpot. Okay, so she does have a bunch of roots here. The top layer seems wasted. So she can definitely go into a shallower pot, and I think we can expose a bit more of this codex. We are also facing some electricity issues, it seems. I don't think there is a need for this to be potted so much. In fact, I think it's better to keep this as exposed as possible. We do have a hole in the codex here, which we should probably be mindful of. If I were to press here, we could get inside of that codex. That's maybe not a greatest of the signs. Very gently, let's see if we can get this looser. She is very, very, very dry. And for the first time in my life, it's not my fault. I do wonder what my 20-year-old one looks like. It hasn't been unpotted in forever. I wonder if she has something in the pot that's also unwelcome. The bottom of the codex is not really what I expected it to be. It seems to me there is like a huge hole, which clearly we are working towards inspecting. It's dry, but the bottom of this is a little bit hollow. However, it's very firm. It probably is just a normal aging of things like this. I mean, I don't know, I'm just guessing. So I think we should stop here with removing this potting mix. You know how it goes here. Every time I say that, I do remove a little bit more. A lot of these roots seem dry. I think it needs to regrow some new roots in the new potting mix. I mean, you can just see by the way these snap off. It's all dry, which is probably why it started to lose some leaves. And this is what I was feeling. There's a bunch of roots that seem to have been cut, maybe when this plant was shipped, because I bet you that this was shipped as a trunk from Thailand to Netherlands, where it was potted and grew these leaves. Now the trick is to pot it and not rot it. This is the bottom. I don't know if you can see in the center, there are a bunch of cut off roots. So, a good thing, we can put her in a much smaller pot. I think this root is viable. She definitely doesn't have many. And I don't know if I have the adequate potting mix. I will go and buy something that's, you know, somewhat adequate. I'll just put her back. That was not what we expected. So all of these are just, they come apart so easily. These are dead roots. None of these are alive. I'm just going to clean up a little bit so I can sit down. So once again, I don't know how hard this is. I hope this is something like a like all the cacti and succulents where you pot them and they just really willingly grow new roots. I hope it's that kind of a situation. I will use a product on it that I use for growing roots, rhizotonic. So she will get a bit of that when I water, which should help. This is why I'm strongly against the practice of don't unpot your plant right away. Wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks, yeah, so you can tell me that I messed it up. I mean, this is not my friend's fault. She had no idea. You know, when it comes to garden centers, maybe unpotting and checking the roots, but I really would not even have a means to know the extent of this dry rot. But you know, when you buy from collectors and private sellers, I'm sorry, but I will absolutely be unpotting my plant right away. And you trying to tell me that I don't know what I'm doing? Honeys, I've been growing plants since 2005. It's like, I do be knowing. Sometimes I will say things, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I actually do know what I'm doing. And this is like, you know, no one can convince me these are good roots. I'm just gonna let her rest actually, because I wanna show you some other plants that we have. I'm gonna show you one plant that I got, that my mom got as a gift, but she don't be liking plants, and one plant that I bought. I was really hoping to show you this epidendrum in bloom, but alas, this is what happens when you buy orchids when they are very far along in their blooming cycle. I will instead show you a vlog that also includes me going to my friend Nicoletta. You'll just see an insert how that day looked when I got this orchid. I just went to buy new windshield wipers for the car. I was visiting my friend Nicoletta in Novi Bečej, which is a town next to mine, and I actually got another plant from her as a gift. And on the way back, there was such a storm. It was insane rain. And on the bridge, the wind was blowing so hard and my windshield wipers were on because of the rain. And one just flew away. And I was like, this can happen? Just keep driving. Because like, what am I going to do? Stop on the bridge? There are trucks behind me. Can't do that. Anyway, just went to buy new ones. Thankfully, they're pretty cheap. Now I know that can happen too. We're gonna go now to a flower store because I saw a yellow epidendrum orchid and they didn't have the price yesterday for it. So I'm just gonna go and check out the price, and if it's affordable, I'm going to buy it. So see you in a bit. Okay, is that a good angle? Probably not. Anyway, here's the orchid. Very nice yellow flower. And I do think, no, these are not fragrant. At least not now. It's quite unstable because the pot is super small. So I'll have to find a way how to wedge it in someplace in the car because I have to go grocery shopping. There was another very cute phalaenopsis, which I may return to get. I don't know. But very nice. And even better, I don't have to ask anyone to go with me, because in the past that's what I needed to do, to ask someone to take me to the flower store, because this would have been broken in half by wind now. So I don't have to ask anyone to take me to the flower store, which is probably not going to be good for the wallet, I feel. Anyway, we're gonna go do some grocery shopping. Fingers crossed, maybe they have some plants there too. Sometimes they have orchids in Lidl. And then we're gonna go home. So I will show you the plants once again. I got another Vanda orchid from Nicoletta because she just doesn't have the conditions in the flower store to make them thrive and to make them bloom again. So I will put it in the basket. I will water it, make sure to put it under my lights. I got 2 Vandas from her. One is white and one is purple. And then I will make sure to rebloom them because they're reblooming quite easily, it seems to me, in my conditions. And these are in relatively good shape, so they should rebloom. And then once they do, I'm just going to return them. She doesn't want them back, but I'll attempt to return them so she can actually sell them because I think I have enough Vandas. But it occurred to me, wouldn't it be nice to have like that job to like just be the local person here for all the flower stores and just repot and rebloom their orchids, not just Vandas but phalaenopsis, etc. I mean, I don't have that many lights, and I don't think that would be a really well-paid job because they already paid for the orchid. So, like, would they pay more money to rebloom them? Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, so you can't really see much on my iPhone camera, but let's just take her out. We see all the flowers that fell. And this was purchased last week. Now, epidendrums are not typically orchids that their flowers last for a long time, but they do certainly last longer than that. Again, this was just very far along in bloom, and I do have three epidendrums that look good. I will toss one of them because it has thrips very far along. So I just decided to get another one. We're just gonna chop this off here because it's yellow, but we will leave some of this stem because it might branch out and rebloom. So I'm just gonna cut it there. This has mostly good roots on the outside, except this. We see some new roots. And actually, what looks to be a pretty good root system. So I will just upsize her and put her on my wall and water my other epidendrums because they are in desperate need of water. They're supposed to be very resilient, indestructible really, which, well, I can't vouch for because my thrips one actually did throw it. That one wasn't. But I do have three that look very, very, very dry now, but I know as soon as I water them that they're gonna look okay. Now the other one, this is what my mom got as a gift. Used to be in bloom. She didn't even unpack it. That's how much she loves plants. This is a type of dendrobium orchid, Dendrobium nobile, and I don't like these. I mean, I do love these. Actually, I do love these. They smell nice, but they are such spider mite magnets. This one's a pink one. Very beautiful smell. I don't know what the roots look like on these. It's been a while since I had Dendrobium nobile. Dendrobium phalaenopsis is much better, if you ask me, because they are easier to bloom. These might be very tricky to grow in my room because it's too hot for them. These are on the cool side, I would say. And these are also deciduous orchids. So I might need to put her in a cooler spot, maybe with my cymbidiums. Now, the potting mix seems to be cocoa peat. I do love these very, very much to look at them in the flower store, but I haven't bought one in about, well, 15 years. It's a challenge that I'm not sure I can take. Unsurprising to anyone, we got two vandas. Now these vandas are something that Nicoletta had for ages. She actually got them when I ordered my first batch of vandas with her. I think that was in either late 2024 or early 2025 when I got my first vandas, and these are from the first batch, and we didn't know what was gonna come, so I selected something entirely else from that batch. I didn't love these. One of them is a purple one, and I might have a photo of how it looks. I think I should. I think it's Tyanae blue or something like that. The other one is a white one. Now the white one I might keep. She told me I can keep both of those, and then I told her I'm just gonna rebloom them and return them to you so you can sell them. But she said, no, at least one, keep one. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe the white one, I will see. So these are the two vandas that have not seen good light in a very long time. They are now under my grow lights, which seems to be fantastic. And they lived, they didn't grow. And the way that I know these are not doing amazingly is because they grew 0 new roots since they arrived. And that's not a good sign. This is the purple one. She has 2 babies, which we need to release them. This is why I hate these baskets, because these barely can get through. I don't know if you can see, there's one here and another here, and it's such a mess. Though this one does have some good roots. It looks overall healthy. You can see she's dehydrated. I mean, even if you're not into orchids, you can just see this is very wrinkly, this is very pliable. So that's not great. The other one barely has any roots. Most of these are dead. Once you soak them, they turn brown, which is not a good color for anything that's alive. And this one does also have a baby, but I don't know if you'll be able even to see. Maybe I can get in there with my phone. I don't know how she's gonna grow from this. If I break this, I'm gonna break the roots. There's no way for me to release this orchid. So unfortunately, I don't think that Wanda Baby, unless she finds her own way out, which I don't know if she will. If she finds her own way out, great, but if she doesn't, she's probably just gonna croak in there. These are monopodial orchids. I will make an orchid video sometime in the future. These are monopodial orchids, so this is the main growth that they have, and if you mess this up, you're not necessarily doomed, but kind of. You are doomed because they just grow from this. They can make a keiki on the stem, sure, but you really should not F this up. I mean, it's not something you should count on. On the other hand, things like this epidendrum are sympodial orchids. They make multiple growths. They can easily be propagated by chopping. You see multiple canes. We see keikis here on top. This can be removed, potted. Also this Dendrobium cattleyas, they're also sympodial orchids. So these are all the growths. They can be divided easily. With Vandas, Phalaenopsis too, you have to cut them. And that's always a little bit risky. They are propagated essentially like that, of course, but it's always a bit, you take a chance with that. This one is a little bit better hydrated actually, which is surprising because, again, very few roots. So these pots are filthy, but they have not had plants in them for a couple of years. So we have a square one. I think this is way too small, but we're gonna see. It's way too small. But if this was slightly bigger, I think that could look cute. And I'm sure if we're stubborn enough, I could make her fit-ish. I also have a deeper one. I don't love this one so much. This one is about 20 years old at this point. Now this one, let us see. This is actually not too bad. I would like this vibe. There's barely, any room there on the edge. That's the vibe that I'm going for. Though I think, again, slightly bigger is necessary. And then the initial vibe, I was gonna go for something shallow like this. But, I mean, this is a good vibe in a different way. This is giving bonsai vibe. And I think this is probably the best. I think this would be good because it's also terracotta. Not much chance for root rot. So I think we're gonna do this. It's not really the pot that I was hoping for, but let's not invest in her more in case she croaks. Let's just give her a nice enough pot. We're gonna scrub this clean. This had no root mealybugs or nothing. I used this for an orchid, my Ludicea, way back. And that died due to underwatering. So we're gonna scrub this clean. And yeah, I think this is gonna look nice. I would like a different plate. I don't know if this came with it, I think not. So I might look for something different to be the saucer of this pot, because I would like a plant stand there. So she's kind of like this statement piece. So we're just gonna leave her. I'm gonna put a bag over it just to kind of keep those roots not dry out even more, because I'm gonna go and grab some cacti mix. I am very much back from my excursion downtown, and I brought my ponytail palm that's about 20 years old at this point. I'm just gonna trim off some of these leaves. It's not 20 years old. It's a little bit younger than that. I got it, it was after 2005, but I feel like it's been before, it's definitely been before 2009. So anywhere in between those several years, I got this ponytail palm, and I got 3 of them in a pot. Now I don't think, oh, there's a roly-poly. Uh-oh. Oh, no! Don't poly-roly here! Oh, no. Oh, shoot. What do I do? What do I do? Okay, it went inside the pot. Let's just ignore that. Obviously, this hasn't been inside in a very long time, but there's been 3 in a pot when I got it, and this was like a typical Nolina arrangement back then. I haven't seen that many now sold like that. Now it's usually 1. Oh, there's the roly-poly again. Wonderful. Oh, there's 2. Oh, is there on me? I hope there's 3, 4. Okay. That was a bad idea. Bad idea. Oh, don't. Oh my goodness, do I have more? Okay, back up. Oh, okay, guys, they're on the floor. Okay, we gotta do something about this. Oh, shoot. Chaos! Don't, where are you going? Stop. No, get into this. I'm looking for peace. We did not predict. I got 1 inside of a cup. I think they're kind of useful, these roly-polies. I don't think they're harmful. I still need to find terrarium pincers to pick them up. I cannot locate my terrarium tweezers. Why do I have less of you now? Where have you gone to? I'm gonna use this spoon to pick them up very gently and place them here. Stop hysterically moving. Thank you. I do not like bugs. But these are good bugs, right? I have not looked up. No, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to help you. You're a fast one. Wait. Patricia! There's 2 more. Excuse me, have you paid rent? See, this is what you have to be careful when you bring in plants from the outside. There are all sorts of critters that come with them. Stop it, you 2. George! I have caught at least 20 of roly-polies. Don't be scared. I come in peace. I feel we have to pick her up. Oh my god. There's more. Okay, listen. I wanted to repot this. First of all, I wanted to show you this plant. I no longer think that's gonna happen. I can see through the hole that we have a lot of roly-polies down there that have not gone out. So let's just peacefully trim the leaves. So this is many years old and it only has 1 grow point. I do feel it's different than the other one. First of all, it's lighter. I come in peace. The bulb is big too, but this is very, very old. It also was very tiny. It did not have any bulbs or anything when it was a new plant. It does stay outside and it overwinters in a space with no light. The squeaky noises that these roly-polies are making are actually insane. I know there are more. Oh no. There's at least 20 more in that pot. So this is just my very old Beucarnea. I'm actually gonna go outside and remove the potting mix. How do I take it outside? Oh no. You know what this means? I brought it inside without a cover pot or anything. I mean, what are the chances that I don't have roly-polies crawling around the house? Okay, 1 more came out. Sabrina, stop. Sabrina, you're being way too dramatic. I'm going to take this bag so they can't come out. So this is what it looks like. If one of you gets on me, I'm gonna absolutely lose it. So this is what you all got. I have something on my face. I can't continue. The family of roly-polies has been released. I'm now gonna take this Beucarnea outside and take it out of the pot. We're back inside, and this is the Beucarnea. She doesn't have many roots either. She has a huge hole, which I assume is where rot occurred at one point, but it's all firm to the touch, so this is very, very old. I think this one could look cute in a pot like this, though I think now it's too big. We cleaned this pot and I think it's fine. Yeah, this one definitely has a hole on the bottom as well, and not that many great roots either, but I think it's going to look okay. As for the potting mix, I did get this cacti mix. I don't know if this is good. I would probably say no. It says it's clay, sand, and peat. It doesn't sound that great, but it's what we have. I do have citrus spawn to amend it with and perlite, which I think I will do. This is a bad idea. This is gonna be all over. got these little nets for the hole on the bottom. So I'm just gonna put them like crisscross, I guess. I don't know how citrus spawn is gonna work with this, but I'll give it a go. Oh my gosh, it's so heavy. That's way too much. Based on vibes. We managed to make ourselves filthy. Make sure when you repot to always wear white linen. There's no better clothing for repotting. Really, there's no better. Sure. Are you okay? Okay, you're not. Gently, my child, gently. I'm just gonna put some mix on the bottom. I want to reveal the trunk up to, I think I can lift it up a little bit higher. In the worst case scenario, I can just fix it. I'm gonna wait a couple of days to water this. I'm not going to water it right away because it's not a plant that would love tremendous amount of water anyway. And you know, all this stuff that happened with the repotting not being super ideal, not too many roots. So as you can see, she does move a bit, but I'll just make sure to be very careful around her. Here we are back again for the last segment of this video. I did take a break from yesterday when I repotted my Beaucarnal, my two Beaucarnals / Nolinas. Now I want to repot my Adelonema, and I will put her in a self-watering pot, and then I need to do the orchids and take a look at a Hoya, a couple of Hoyas really, but we might need to shorten this a little bit. I think we are going to stick to an organic mix in self-watering, but also I could change my mind very quickly here. I do have a bit of an airy mix. This is some lower quality bark, cocoa peat, and pumice and perlite. So I think that's gonna work well in self-watering. Oh wow, there's a lot of perlite dust. So let's just take a look at what these roots look like. And then the self-watering pot is here. I just need to move this wick to the see-through pot from Temu. And I think that's gonna be a good setup, though I really might do pond for this. I don't know, we'll think about it. Oh, there's a lot of roots. That makes me very happy. And I don't see any signs of root mealybugs, which is always something you need to look into when you get plants from nurseries, from garden centers, because they will hitch a ride, especially on Sansevierias. I have experienced an amazing infestation, and when I say amazing, I mean in every worst way possible, from a garden center on Sansevierias. I'm not gonna go way too crazy here with cleaning the roots, but really there's no rot here compared to the Nolina where we lost a bunch of those roots. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm just gonna transfer this wick. I need to find more wicking material. I'm just gonna put this here. This is actually a perfect size, it seems. I don't think you see what I'm doing very well, but to be quite frank with you, neither do I. We're kind of going blindly here. Now, I do have to inspect this plant and make sure there are no thrips. Though I don't see any, but we do have to be mindful. I am having a small thrip infestation, which I need to treat. Maybe this mix is a little bit airier. I think I should have added a little bit more cocoa peat. I was honestly using this mix for some of the cheaper Hoyas recently that I needed to get into a pot, and this is really not the mix that I would use for Hoya, but I was out of everything else. Okay, so this is Hoya benguatensis. As we can see, she's looking absolutely mortifying. I need to check if there is any root rot. I mean, I think we know. I think the roots have croaked from me not watering her, in which case I will have to cut this She lost a bunch of leaves in the last few days, and obviously this isn't looking great. She also has mealybugs, so all around a terrible situation, but I am interested to see if there are any roots here that are good. See, this doesn't look like a rotten root to me. Not the main one. And the potting mix is moist, which is making me wonder what the heck. I was gonna restart this anyway, so that's not a, you know, it's not a great loss. There is some stem rot here, so maybe that's why at the bottom of this stem there is rot. Considering she's so unwell, let's start to chop into this and let's see what we can do with this plant. Is it a herbarium specimen? There is some sap coming, but the sap is not very fresh. It's giving bad import vibes, which is funny because she did not go through import. We will try to recover this with rhizotonic. Yeah, that's all gone. So this is all Benguatensis trash. I think I'm coming down with a cold. She was looking fine the other day and then she bloomed and it was very hot. It got very hot in the cabinet, the mealybugs, and you know, my schedule was crazy. And yeah, I mean, this is really going to be magnificent if we recover this. There's a mealybug here, so we have to chop off our hands. I'm gonna try to soak it into some RO water with rhizotonic and see where that will get us. We also have another Hoya that's looking pretty bad. It's the only left microphylla. I left 3 of them for myself and 2 of them croaked while the room was being painted. One of them got knocked over accidentally by my friend and it was crazy. I was gonna pot it back, didn't do it fast enough. The other one just dried out. The only one that is left was the biggest one. It's looking terrible. I can show it to you. You're going to judge me. At one point, I will say I had over 10 microphyllas and I sold a bunch of them. I left 3 for myself. I gifted a couple and yeah, I think one of them is in the country still, so I can check in with that girl and see if she's still growing it well. Now, the issue with my plant is that it has a ton of mealybugs. And this is really unfortunate because I rescued this plant last year and it started to do fantastically, and now it's like again on the verge of life. She's on the edge of glory. As we can see, this is looking absolutely horrific. I don't know, we might even have, oh yeah, there are mealybugs all the way down into the pot. I just treated this, but I think this is gonna croak because I see mealybugs are going down. These are not root mealybugs. These are regular mealybugs that are finding their way into the mix so they can stay with us forever. So I'm just gonna chop some of these dry parts. I might need to unpot this, but this is probably not gonna be rescued. I think I will have to let this one go simply because there's just so many. It's just looking really, really bad. I'm ashamed to show you this plant. Whatever. I mean, I know this is a rare plant. I've grown it for years, but the mealybugs completely got to her. I did leave her untreated. That is on me. This is not looking great. Though I will attempt. I will attempt, but you can see there are egg sacs, and there are mealybugs in the pot. So we need to unpot this, which is going to be traumatic for her. I know that she doesn't like to be unpotted, that she has a very sensitive root system. I'm just gonna put it here. I don't even know. I have to just separate it from everything. I have to wash my hands now, wash the scissors, get a bag to throw all of this out. We are back here again to finish off with the orchids. This got washed, so we don't transfer anything to the orchids. I will start with the epidendrum. And it doesn't seem that there is much potting mix here. We do want to be careful with these roots so they don't snap, so I will just gently go this time. They do have what seems to be a very snappable root system. Now this potting mix is mostly, from what I see, coco peat a little bit of cocoa husk. So we will just loosen that up. I will say that some of these roots do feel dry a little bit. Yep, this one is dry. It's giving rot vibes. These are maybe slightly harder to tell apart which are rotten or not, but you can just very gently feel it out. When the root is not rotten, it will be firmer than the rotten one. And just if you gently pull on it, you will see, like here, I mean, this is very obvious. This part is very obvious that this is very empty here, very deflated. And there is a slightly different sound when you touch the root that's healthy. I don't know if my microphone is picking up anything, but see, that's just my fingers rubbing against the root. This is really weird. It's giving that straw. And obviously we can see when we pull this that it just pulls apart. Now still be careful even though you have rotten roots, because if you're just too violent you could snap off a healthy root. So we don't want that. Though again, for these it shouldn't be a big issue. A lot of the new roots will have the healthy green tip. So that's great. It helps us also sort of recognize the good ones versus the bad ones. And for a lot of orchids, unfortunately, typically the ones in the center seem to be rotten. I will go in with my scissors and just cut off some parts that I see are empty. Let's get in there. These are a little bit misleading, I will tell you. And of course, when you cut back the roots, you always want to leave just a little bit of that dry part on, not cutting into the healthy tissue. This is the same thing when you trim the leaves, which I see a lot of plant people doing it wrong, which is, you know, if you read the OG books on plant care, if you cut into the healthy tissue of the leaf when you have yellowing going on, it will just continue. So you just only want to take the dry part off, leaving just a little bit of that dry part. We mostly got those roots cleaned up and they're looking good now. There is a little bit of dry stuff here, but I'm not going to look for perfection. I'm also glad that we sort of established the normal growth pattern. Orchids are actually super resilient. Even if they lose a bunch of the roots, they can regrow them pretty quickly. Now we have that dendrobium. This one is making me nervous because, as I told you, I'm not a fan of anything houseplant that is deciduous. I don't like it. Makes me nervous, never liked it, I don't think I ever will. Now, I did find conflicting info. Some say that this is not supposed to go fully deciduous, that it gradually loses leaves. Some say it does lose the leaves. So I don't know, I really don't remember when I grew these over 15 years ago how they behaved. I do remember being able to keep them alive for some time. I don't remember reblooming them. I had 3, I think, not more than 3 of these Dendrobium nobiles. I had more Dendrobium phalaenopsis, which I actually should get again. We got rid of the PT mix, which is not amazing. And there are some rotten roots, not too many. These, as they go into dormancy, which should be, I think, around winter time now, you need to water them less, but still keep them alive, obviously. So they do go through this dormant period. This is why I don't think they can stay in my room. Maybe they can stay for a little while longer as we head into fall, but I think I'm gonna move them to my hallway once the heating starts, because in the hallway there are windows which are not insulated. Potentially would be a perfect place for these orchids, and I think potentially I might even put some of my phalaenopsises there to get them to spike. I think this is good enough. I'm not going to do more when it comes to untangling. Let's just enjoy how beautiful green that new growth is. I love it. It will probably soon be devoured by mites and thrips because that's how life goes. We hit a bit of a roadblock here. I was under the impression that I have two, not one, two more bags of bark that I didn't open, and that is not true. So instead, I will simply use the Hoya mix that I have pre-mixed. The only thing that I will add to just increase the amount of moss, because I think I don't have a lot of moss in my Hoya mix, I will use these moss sheets from SYBOTANICA to just add a bit of moss, because I also don't have a lot of moss that I typically use. So I'll just hydrate one of these packets. This is actually quite interesting. This is lab-grown moss. I showed this on my Patreon. This is fascinating to me. So this is dehydrated moss in a sheet, kind of looks like cork, and then you put it in, I have to show you, it's pure magic. So you just put this in here. It's a little bit better if you have a larger vessel, which I don't, but you put this in here, there we go, and it starts to grow very quickly, and to just take up this water, this is uber fascinating to me, because how did that turn into this is absolutely beyond me. I have no idea, but it did. It did. And now it's legit moss. Magic. So I will use a bit of this moss on the bottom because it will just help wick the moisture. Water runs through this mix. It's a very porous mix. There's pumice, there's bark, a little bit of moss. And for orchids, I typically add moss manually, meaning that I will just kind of put the moss myself, you know, a little bit on the bottom and then throw the layer of bark. But because again, I don't have bark that's without moss, we will just do it different. This is what we have. I'll just add a little bit of bark there. Not too much because we need our orchid to fit in. Let's do this dendrobium, which I don't know if this is gonna fit back in, but we'll try. It didn't really need a bigger pot. That's really not the goal here. The goal is just to get a better mix in there. Now with the orchids, it is a little bit tricky to get that mix in, but with enough patience and smacking the pot, it's totally doable. What you can do is just, you know, you can take a skewer and push some of the bark or move the roots a little bit so the bark could fall in. Obviously try not to damage roots, but it's not going to be always possible not to damage anything because you are poking with a skewer. And what I like to do with orchids, I used to do this with aeroids too, but I found this helpful with these orchids as well, is to put a top layer of moss. And what that does, keeps the moisture in there for a little bit longer, which I do find helpful because I keep a lot of my orchids on my orchid wall where I don't get to water all that frequently. I'm gonna just try to put that root in there. Though again, orchids are epiphytic, so if some root is hanging out, it's typically not a huge issue. So we are done with the dendrobium, much lighter mix. And let's just do the epidendrum. Now this one also seems to be a little bit bigger. Come on, I know this one can fit because it was in a much bigger pot. I'll just put a skewer right in there that will help us stabilize this plant. Now, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with there being pumice here, but it's not really necessary. Just bark and moss will do the trick. But you know, pumice can't hurt either. Oh no! Oh, we broke this. We broke this cakey off. Well, when I say we, I really mean me. I did this. It wasn't you. I will pod that separately. I mean, you know, propagation, I guess. It's not a tragedy. It's just like I don't necessarily need another pot. Okay. All right, we have reached the end of this video. I had a couple of other things planned here, but we did not get to do them. Water the begonias and spray my tent. But as for this video, this is it. I hope you enjoyed it. I also hope that you support me getting the Nolinas. We're gonna figure out the stand situation there. And I think they're a lovely addition. And if you disagree, well, I don't care. Right now, what I actually feel that I need is a tree in my room. It's probably what I don't need. The last thing I need is a tree. But imagine how cute it would be to have a tree there. No Miro. I hope you also got to do some chores with me in this video. Let me know down in the comment below what those chores were, as long as they're appropriate. And I will catch you in the next one. Goodbye! I would like to take some time to thank all of my patrons for their incredible support. A massive shout out to my $5 patrons. My 2 anonymous patrons, Alex von Siebenthal and Margaret Moon, Andrea Jerish, Angela Bernard, Anna Malia, Anna P. Aspen Drake, Betsy Brett Noble, Catherine Molina, Connie Pagano, Daniela Danube Daniels, Daria W, Deanne Sikorsky, Edith W, Elena Saxon, Ellen, Farah Francis Wilkins, Gathering Moss, Gina Geisig, Rositz Kyle, Hannah Matlin, Hoji Scott, Into the Forest, Yana Griffin, Jen C, Jessica Chio, Jody D. Gomez, Jonas Barr, Hjorth Larson, Kara, Catherine B, Casey Gross, Kelso, Kimberly Polka, Christy Ehrlich, Laura Castle, Al Lindbergh, Lee Mooney, Lucas Erchevsky, Mandy Milliken, Marcel Har, Maria Zakova, Marina Yarmovich, Marty Miller, Melissa Walker, Michelle Heron, Mirka Grun Roos, MJW, Moa Edmund, Miss Seidenhar, Anna Naily Yang, Nicole Maroney, Nanguyen, Nita Macy, Odette, PJ, Syke Sarah, Rachel Peterson, Rebecca C, Renee Church, Sharon Bones, Starla Von Lith, Subi Cordekangas, Tessa Martins, Thomas Marsden, Tia B, Trista Bailey, Tristan Thomas, Vampire Siren, Van Alien, Xenia Green, Youth of the Balmud, Zaira Rivera, Zlakov Niponi, and A Flower. A big thank you to my $3 patrons, Botany Benz, Kilone, Daryl Del Rosario, Eden Corlett, Holly Borner, Ivy, Joanna, KPZ, Lindsay Ann, Maria Isabel, Monica Wykers, Ringlov, Tangwatan Nisria Cool, VH, and www.myhoya.shop. And a thank you to my $1 patrons, Alice Borlin, Ann C, Brandon Pacheco, Couture Helvetica, Deepanjali Rao, Amelia Bronson, Jolie Sullivan, Julie Lafford, Kayla Bavra, Kelly Ash, Kelly Gallagher, Chris Perez, Laura Jackson, Lorianne Subramanian, Luzmin Fernandez, Mary Diamond, Mary Rose, Neely Spicer, Nerdy Kathy, Olivia Chin Mueller, Pacific Northwest Plant Lady, Pax Slydig, and Steph Fox.